Hello, a weekly Wednesday Fast Track Money session. And if this is your first time here, I'm Yasi, the creator behind Fast Track. So we're a podcast content platform where you can find all the information about entrepreneurship, career, and money. And you can find it on fasttrack.live. And together with me is my usual co-host, Matthias Richter. This side. Matthias Richter is the creator behind Financial Imagineer, where he shares his personal insights and tips about achieving financial independence and how to Imagineer your life using money as a tool. And together we create a fast track money course to help young professionals to transform their relationship with money and also helping you learn the money skills, cultivate the right money mindset. And sometimes we have special guests, like today we have Thomas, this side, Thomas Sparkojote. If this is your first time, watching him on the screen, you should you have missed out something very major because he is the biggest personal finance YouTuber and blogger in the Swiss German speaking part in Switzerland. Also, he has a lot of followers from Germany. So, and then today I'm going to interview him and together with Matt, because he's not only that quitting his job three years ago, started a very successful online presence, but also he has his own online shop, maybe right now a physical shop. I saw it on your social media. It's called Amazing Toys Comic Shop. And not only that, he has gained a lot of wealth in the last year, but also his new goal is to double his net worth this year to achieve 2 million. And you might wonder how he achieved all that in such a short period of time. It's not about luck, it's about strategy and hard work. And today we're going to ask him how he made that. And welcome to the show, Thomas.
Thank you.
Is that you have started recently. And maybe let me start with the first question, if you don't mind, Matt. So since last year, I remember your net worth was around 700K, 800K later last year. And then this year, suddenly, it was 1.3 million. So what contributed to the wealth growth in such a fast manner?
So I would say it's pretty hard if you're like employed to have like those kind of jumps, and if you don't have like unicorn investment like Tesla, or let's say you hit Bitcoin really low, it's almost impossible to get those kind of jumps in net worth in those short periods of time, because we're talking not about years, we're talking about sometimes even half a year or 5 months, right? And mostly it is because of my companies or my ventures, my businesses. I started I started with 16, like for example, the online shop, the e-commerce business. I started on platforms like eBay and Ricardo. And during the years, now I'm almost, I think it's the 9th or the 8th year I'm already with this e-commerce business. It's its own online shop. This year we merged together with my parents' physical store, which wasn't doing well, and now it's doing well because of the rebranding and so on. So most of like this wealth accumulation that happens so fast is like the business growing exponentially, right? So you have like the first 5 years where you work on your business and nothing much happens, or you can maybe scrape by and come by, and then year after year the revenue, the profit doubles, sometimes triples, right? And this is like the snowball effect of like the exponential growth if you have your own business. And I think especially if you're in the under 1 million revenue area, it's pretty easy to double or triple your revenue, right? So I just recently just looked into my analytics, and I basically during the past 3 years, when I basically resigned my job at UBS and pursued all my businesses, I either doubled or even tripled sometimes the revenue of my businesses each year, right? So for example, if I have in 1 year a profit of, let's say 100K, double is already 200K, and then again double, it's 400K in profit, right? So and that's what I noticed. At least if you're under 1 million revenue and you have a good profit margin, it's pretty easy to double and triple. And now I'm at the stage where I'm not really know, can I still double and triple like my businesses as fast as I can without like employing too many people, right? Because at now I employ both of my parents full time, and I give them pretty decent salary. I employ myself full time and also my girlfriend full time. So it's 3 or 4 full-time employees with me, and also like half a dozen freelancer, which I work frequently every month with. So there's also overhead starting to grow, and now I need to like see, okay, what is a good investment with my money and what is not, and what gives me like a return and still keeps like the profit margins good.
Right. And you mentioned that if the revenue is under 1 million, it's pretty easy to, double, triple. I would I would ask how easy. Why you say easy? Like, is there anything that you think everybody can replicate?
No, it's because of scalability, right? So the issue is, for example, with the e-commerce store, it's a family business. So basically my family works with me, right? Or I employ them. And the issue is with logistics, you can, like, for example, I can easily do 500,000 revenue, maybe even 1 million revenue, right? It's easy logistically. But if I want to do 2 or 3 million revenue, it's logistically not that easy anymore because I need to move more products. And if I need to move more products, instead of like, let's say 5 to 10 packages a day, it's like 40, 30 50 packages a day, which is at some point not like logistically possible with like just me,
Yeah,
my mother and my
yeah,
father,
yeah,
right? So
yeah. Like the
you
Amazon.
have like, yes, you have logistic problems physically. If it's, for example, an online business for like the blog and the YouTube channel, it's much more easy to scale because there's no physical product. So there it may be like it still depends, because then you still need to pump out relatively much content. So for example, all the content I create, I cannot do by my own anymore because it's too much. And also I have other businesses and ventures which are in the back end, which basically I don't speak much about, but I still am like I own part of it, or I founded it together with some other people. So it's always like kind of how can you scale, and that's why I say I think on like till 1 million revenue, it's pretty easy to scale almost any business. But after that, it's or it gets really hard to scale like even effectively, because the profit margins change because you need to employ more people,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay, so can I understand it that way, that the offtake of your business, the amazing toy comic shop business, is the accumulation from all the years before, or it's a
Yeah.
combination of market demand, everything happened at the
Oh,
same
I mean, it's obviously everything together, because it's also like accumulation in stock I have of the products we sell. I have products from 4 or 5 years ago, which I still have, and they are out of print, like for example, trading card stuff or even comics or whatever, that also gain in value. Like, but I still paid the same price 5 years ago, right? But they are now more worth because they are more rarer. So yes, it's kind of both, right? And the longer you are in the game, the the better the margins get in those kind of specific things. But the issue is with like the logistics, because it's a physical product, right?
yeah.
You need to store the stuff, you need to have like all kind of different things you need to look out for it, and like the security systems, because like if it burns or if there's some water damage, and then because all those stuff would get destroyed because it's paper, right?
Right,
So
right.
I mean, there is some certain logistics behind of it. And even for an online business, like for example a Sparkojote, the webpage sparkojote.ch, or the YouTube channel Thomas der Sparkojote, there's a lot in the back end which people don't see, like creating for every video a specific video description, like timestamps, and then like the video editing, like creating the thumbnail, creating the SEO, the tags, and then even cross promote it with the blog, and so those kind of things. It's really kind of a media agency almost, right?
Yes.
Where it's not possible anymore to just like one person working on that, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, it's possible, but the effect will not be. It's not
No,
so
it's not
efficient.
possible. No, it's
Yeah.
not possible. It's like if you're saying you can do 20 minutes, like the newspaper alone. No, it doesn't work.
Okay, that's. Oh yes,
Doesn't
because
work. Doesn't
because
work.
the content you created is just way too much. I mean, if one person create
Yeah,
one video, it's
no, this doesn't work anymore if you're just one person. because there's so much in the backend with all the platforms I'm on and the backend happening. That doesn't work anymore. It's like at basically, if I want to have like just with I need at least to have 3 full-time employees or half a dozen freelancers, either of
Yeah.
both.
Yeah.
And I choose to have in this kind of business a relationship with freelancers, because then I'm more flexible, because I'm a person that really likes flexibility and I don't like to have like specific working times, right?
Yeah.
And this is the easiest way to work then with freelancers in this business, because I usually sleep really late in, and then sometimes I work in the night. And then with freelancers works best, because then you pay either per hour or you pay like per like end
Delivery.
result.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And Matt, you have like questions prepared, right? So I
Oh,
give the floor to
well.
you.
It's very interesting. I think what Thomas just mentioned, it's getting very, very hard. I see that with my own blog. The more I want to do, you reach at some boundary, and you have to push through that glass ceiling in a way. And I think this is something anyone that tries to become an entrepreneur has to figure out. So the thing compared to like you have a job, you have limited upside in a way, right? But you also just can sell your time. With the entrepreneurial route, you have unlimited upside, you have scalability, but you have to manage it, right? So it's no longer managing your hours and your time, but also people and the business. You have to work on the business, not just in the business. And for that, what I think I would be very interested to ask you, what inspired you to actually take this route? Because you started so early in your life, which is great, right? So what was the initial spark that got you away from a big corporate? Because I understand you had a very well-paid job, and now you kind of transitioned into something even more successful, which is awesome. What inspired you originally?
So I mean, I always had some kind of side businesses even during my apprenticeship, and I always like even as a teenager I made YouTube videos since 2008, by the way. So I've created a lot of videos, like even like if you watch, like I have like 1,200 videos on my main channel, Thomas der Sparkojote, right? But I created over my lifetime probably over 3,000 videos. Most of them were gaming videos, let's plays, and other kind of things, unboxings, you name it, you say it, Lego videos. I did Beyblade videos, everything you can think a young boy would like, right? And that's how I started with YouTube, actually. And I always had some kind of side businesses, which then really early, when I was, I think, 16 or so, was with eBay and Ricardo, where I sold my or parts of my collection from my trading card collection. And this basically grew like into like the amazingtoys.ch online shop we have now today, right? And I think it was like tendencies to just try to create something where I can make my hobbies or like my passions, like how you call it, like finance themselves. Because
Yeah.
what I
Happening
started
from.
with is um trying to build a collection without putting new money into it, right? Selling old parts of my collection to buy new stuff, and then the stuff I want to keep, I keep, and the other stuff I sell again, and just building my like trading card game collection, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Magic, and other kind of things. And that's how it's basically still is nowadays today, but at a bigger scale, because nowadays I have more access to like money, let's say, for example, so I can also buy other stuff for my collections, which is also interesting. So it's still basically the same, like the same reason somehow, but it still makes fun, because I can just do every day what I'd like to do. Same with YouTube. I started doing YouTube when I was, I think, how old was I then? 12 or something, 12 or 11 or something like
You
that,
might have more
2008 or
than
so.
10 years experience with YouTube.
Yeah, it's now 13 years or something like that, right? So which is really kind of interesting, because more of like I'm 25 now, and more than half of my life I already created videos, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm 25 now, which is ridiculous and crazy. So I'm actually kind of really happy and grateful, or have a lot of gratitude that I can basically like do all of my passions, earn a living from it, and also make it possible to support my family, employ them even, right? Which is not like, I think it's not like, not everyone can do that, unfortunately. So I'm really happy. And that's how it basically like came together. It started as a passion projects, and there was just some point where I said, look, do I want to do, or do I want to work 40 years in a corporate job, which I really don't like. The people there are really nice, but I just don't like what I'm doing there 42 hours per week, or sometimes even more. Or do I want to do something where I also like that, and I choose the latter, or the later one.
And when is that moment that you take the decision? Because you mentioned like a certain moment. I want to ask you.
So
Yeah.
So 2018 in October, so basically exactly almost 3 years ago, was my last working day. So I put in my resignation in August of 2018. Because then 3 months, you have this period, and then you're like basically you're gone, right? And I think it was around my 22nd birthday, which was in July there, right? I had to make a decision. I don't know what, but I had to make a decision. Do I want to do that or that? It was like, decide, do this or this. Either go full the career path, and then you go to like do the bachelor, master, and whatever in the IT, or try follow your passion. And I gave myself an ultimatum, like for 3 years. So basically till October now, basically 2021 October. And that's how I basically made that decision. And I told myself, look, if I'm 25 and it didn't work out, I'm still 25. I can do my bachelor and master, and I'm 30, and then I have the master. So what can I lose, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The
And
risk
that's how
of.
I approach it, actually. So I was really like rational about, and I wrote down what are the upside from resigning, what is the downside. I made like a list, and in the end I resigned. Then a month or 3 weeks later, after my birthday, I had to like take my shit together and say, okay, I need to do this now. And then I made it. I think I downloaded a Word document, like, like a template on how to resign. I didn't know what I should write in. I did that, printed that out, and then yeah, that's how it worked. And I think like the last 3 months were the best working months I ever had there. I don't know why, but it was really nice, actually. Even the work I did there, I don't know why, but it was like that. And yeah, and then everything till now is history, because I have like no plans at all to get or go back or even go study and do the bachelor and the master, because all of the projects work so good, and even new projects I want to launch also work good, or they look good. And yeah, it worked out everything well for me, at least I can say.
Yeah. And then when you look back, back then, would you have imagined where you will be today, or you have like sense of feeling that you will be successful, high chance?
It's kind of hard. So I think self-doubt is something everyone has, so I'm no exception to that, because sometimes even now I think like, why should it work when I do that? Like, why should it work, right? So but I think those kind of things are perfectly normal. You just need to understand how you cope with those kind of things. Like do you like when for example, best example is you go to sleep, and then you think like, oh, and then, oh my god, what is when this happens, and then that, and then everything fails, and so on. And it's okay, but then you sleep, and then next morning you just do your work again, your daily work, and you don't get like distracted from those kind of thoughts, which sometimes come. And for example, meditating helped me quite a lot. I do it now already like almost 3 years now. Started doing meditation and those kind of things, and also helped me to like clear my thoughts, and also like track my thoughts down from like a kind of third person view. So if I have a thought, I try to like, oh, what is this thought exactly, right? Why do I think that thought? Or did I watch something that may, or like, for example, hear like a song which had an impression on me, which that's why I thought about those kind of negative things or positive things, right? So, and this helped me quite a lot. And but I never had like the idea that it would work out that well. So if I go back 3 years ago, for like my first day, I think officially not employed, was 1st of November. Like this was the official day where I had my last salary and everything, and 1st of November. If I would go back now, it's just 3 years ago, I would tell like my younger me, so hey, you will manage to have a 24 1 million, and then it will go straight up even more, and maybe you even reach 2 million by 25 or whatever. I would think like, get out of the hell here. How can I believe this? How is this possible? Shut the fuck up, go away. This is not possible, right? So, but it's always like hindsight bias. You always know, because after it happened, everything worked out. But I didn't know at that point where I started, or even a year or 2 years ago, that it would work out that well, right? But I thought to myself, even it doesn't work out that well, doesn't matter, because I did what I like to do and it made fun. Like the process was fun.
Yes. This process is fun, and also you start something yourself, and you also learn a lot in the process.
Yes.
Yeah, I think just to summarize, I think number one, people, our audience here, we talk about how to fast track your wealth. And of course, your story compared to the career track, you follow your passion. So number one, I think money is not the main objective. You do something that you like, and you kind of figure out a way how to spend your time to finance your passions, and therefore it was probably intrinsically motivating, and then you were super motivated. It doesn't feel like work eventually. So you build a system around it, and you replicated your successes. And then somehow, by repeating that, you have the leverage of building the successful systems and ultimately keep growing it. So this may be the 4 points, if I summarized that correctly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There may be just one addition, like at some point you think about it, do you still want to grow that fast?
Yeah, correct.
And why? Because sometimes there may be the answer, sometimes it's like, it's kind of enough. It's fine if I just grow with inflation, because then you stay the status quo, or at least grow just a tiny bit. Not like double every year, but like 5% every year, 10% every year, like the stock market, you understand? So, and the reason why I think about that a lot is like, why do I do what I do? Do I do what I do to just build like the next, let's say, Digitech, for example, here in Switzerland? And probably not, because then it wouldn't be that what I really want, right? Because I like to be that it's a family business. I like to be every like 2 or 3 Saturdays per month. I like to be in the store physically and work together there with my parents or with my dad, and just hang out there and just like, but if it's then, let's say if it's a Digitech, like in this kind of size, really big, or like Franz K. Weber or whatever, then it's not that anymore, because then you have random people also there, which you understand. So it's kind of also a philosophic question. Why do you want to grow? And at some point, maybe it's even better to just stay like the same size and just grow with inflation, or just a tiny bit more than inflation, for building up a buffer or something like that.
Yeah, for the business side.
Yes.
And let's come back to the personal finance side, because I know that you told the stories in my in the podcast with me. But for the audience here, since when you started to get interest in personal finance topic, and you paid attention to your net worth and the personal wealth, and why?
So for me, it really started like at 17, because I started reading blogs like Tim Schäfer Media, or like YouTube channels just started to start, like Aktien mit Kopf, which is also German YouTube channel. So all those kind of things just started around there, where I was also in apprenticeship. And then I basically, when I got 18, right, because it was like 17 and a half, around about that, and 6 months later I got 18, and my parents, like, they saved for me basically on like just a normal bank account every month, like I think it was 50 francs or something like that, during like those 18 years. And in the end I got 10,000 francs basically, right, on like a normal bank account. And they told me I could do everything with that, right? And just a few months later, it was below 10,000 francs. And I thought myself, how is this possible? I earned money in the apprenticeship, and like, how can I have less than, because I spent more than I earned those months, right? And so that's where it kickstarted. The information I got on the blogs, on the YouTube channels, and I just immediately opened like a brokerage account. Back then it was at UBS, because I worked there. And then I started basically just with the money I had left, starting to buying stock, because then I knew I wouldn't like buy something other with this money, right? And that's how I basically started, just learning by doing. And then I made mistakes and not the best stock picks. Sometimes I just sold stocks like Activision Blizzard. I bought it at $20, sold it at 25. I should just have hold it, right? So, But in the beginning, you do a lot of like kind of mistakes, which is fine because you learn out of it. And it's usually, if you're young, the mistakes are like pretty like small sums of
Yeah.
money usually. Because if you do the same mistake when you're 45 or 35, it's probably a zero more behind it, usually, right? And that's like the coolest thing I take for myself, all the learnings I made. And that's why I started so early, basically, right? And during those times, I also got more into like even more into the business part, which I always did on the side. I also took like a small part of those 10,000 to buy more like trading cards, merchandise, and so on. So that's where it basically, I would say, it really started, where I took like wealth building more seriously, actually, because
Yeah.
up till I was like 18, I knew there was something like wealth building and, having wealth and so on, but I didn't take it seriously. But at that point, I took it seriously. I tracked, even from that point on, I tracked my net worth, like my portfolio, like how
You
much
do the
money I,
same.
yes. And then everything else was history, because then I started saving. My savings rate went up because I tracked like how much I spent on everything, right? Because from 2015 till end of 2020, so almost 6 years, I tracked like every penny. It was on the Rappengenau, right? When I went to Starbucks or bought a chewing gum for like 50 cent, 50 Rappen, it was exactly, I knew exactly how much I had and how much I spent on Genau. And but now I don't track anymore because I
Yeah.
don't think it's necessary anymore for me. But like it helped me really to get like a perspective on how much I spent. And I mean, every dollar or euro or franc you spend, save, is money you can put into investments or your like emergency fund, right?
Yes, correct. And the story is so funny that you track everything, because Matthias, you also mentioned at what age you started track everything. You have your spreadsheet built out.
I was 16. I was
Oh,
16. That
okay.
was in 1995. I started with that, and the great thing was, yeah, well, I think what Thomas just said. If you start to track it at the beginning, I think it's very important, and it becomes part of you. You internalize it. If you do it long enough, it becomes a habit. And like Thomas also said, now you don't do it anymore. But most likely, I can tell you, you don't have to do it anymore because it became part of your
Yes.
internal like hardware. It's not just the software, it's your hardware. Your operating system is based on that, right? So I think this is when somebody want to get started budgeting and something. It sounds so boring. It sounds so, oh, what a waste of time. You don't have to do it, consistently. Just get a feel, know where the money is going, know where the money is coming from, know what helps you. And then like between your income and your expenses, you have this gap. This is your free cash flow to your dreams or to your goals. And if you manage to increase that, it doesn't matter by how much, right? As long as it keeps growing, you will get there faster eventually, right? So, and I think this is very cool. So track it, get started, and internalize it. It becomes part of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Am I the only one who started in the 30s?
Some of the people never start, I think, and that's sad, right?
Yeah. But I have to say, like, even starting in the 30s is a huge transformation. It's really valuable. And I have another question,
But,
like, to Thomas.
mhm.
We mentioned before about cash flow quadrant. When you started your business, did you consciously try to move yourself within the cash flow quadrant, or it's just naturally happened?
I would say I'm still in the S one, because if I don't do anything anymore, it's the businesses are like basically after years they are gone. They're not bigger than they were before when I left. So I'm definitely not yet into like in the B, because that I think like how I like to do things, because I'm really like doing like operative things. It's kind of hard to move completely into the B, which is, it's not bad, but it kind of limits in what you can actually reach financially, at least. But I think it's a fair trade-off for, like, I mean, for me it doesn't matter in the end, right? So let's say I rather be self-employed, like I am basically now, because I work on my business and I do a lot of things by myself because I like actually doing them, instead of being just a business owner and just sitting in my chair and then organizing people, because I don't like that kind of thing, right? I would basically need to hire a CEO for doing that, and I can do still like other things, right? I would be probably not a good CEO, right? Just saying and organizing and those kind of things. So for me, it was always kind of, instead of like the quadrant from cash flow quadrant, for me it was more important to, especially now, because I can decide in which direction I want to go, because I have the funds, I have the money, I can theoretically, or in the can really invest it into the business. It's for me more important to find out what lifestyle I want to live and what I want to actually do with the time. Like, for example,
Yes,
if I
yes,
stay up on Monday or on Thursday or on Saturday, Sunday, what do I actually want to do? Do I want to go every Saturday or 2 or 3 Saturdays per month always into the physical shop in Zurich? Yes, I want to do that, right? But in terms of money and financial aspects, it's not good used time, because I could
yes,
do something different and earn 10 times more.
yes.
But I still want to do that, right? So why should I then not do that what I want to do? Because I can do it, because I am financially stable enough. The businesses are going well. The profit margins are fine. That's why, like, my question is always, do I still need to grow that much, right? So it's kind of a philosophical question. And that's why a lot of people don't understand when I say I'm probably never ever will be a billionaire or even reach 100 million or 50 million or whatever, because I don't have the aspiration to do what those kind of people do to reach those kind of net worths, right?
Yeah,
Because the
yeah,
higher you go the ladder with the finance, the less you do really that what you're doing in the business, because you hire people to do those kind of things,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
kind of like people don't understand that. I think people think you can be a billionaire with going every Saturday into like the physical store and doing stuff there the whole day, and like basically chilling out with your dad and then selling stuff to customers that come by, right? That doesn't work. With this, you will not be a billionaire probably, right?
Hmm. And
No.
when you reach certain level of wealth, I guess you have the freedom to choose what kind of business lifestyle or work lifestyle that you want to live, right? So not really just always go for the next number. So when you talk about lifestyle, because you always highlight a lot about minimalism on your website, let's talk about a little bit about that. Why you get into minimalism and why it's so interesting for you to have that lifestyle.
So it's kind of hard to explain, because like sometimes, like, even if you watch into my background, this is probably not minimalistic for most people, okay? But it's kind of hard, because you need to like differentiate. Like, minimalism does, like, for every other person, does mean something different. There's, like, for example, minimalists that are really ecological. They don't fly, and they look that everything is not packed in plastic. And for example, I have to say it like that, it's not something like I like specifically watch, oh my god, here is like something into this is not good for the environment. I don't know, right? So this is not my main goal. My main goal with minimalism, or like how I approach it, is like, I want to know with what things in my life I want to like spend my time, or with whom I want to spend my time, right? And minimalism helps me a lot to like find out what it actually is, right? So for example, if I know I for example, cars, luxury cars, best example. If I buy, for example, now a Tesla Model S, whatever, the newest one for 100K or something like that, I know this is a new car, it's a luxury car. I need to take care of that. So I need to wash it sometimes. I need to, like, let's say if the rims are damaged, I need to look out for it. And I want to keep it clean and those kind of things. I don't care for that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to clean my car. It's like, I don't care. But if
Yeah,
you buy a luxury car, usually you will start caring for that. But I don't want to do that. That's why I would at the moment not buy a luxury car. But I want to give you an example. It's still minimalistic to, I think, own like a luxury car, if you think like, okay, I can outsource that, all those kind of things, to a guy or a girl that does that for me. So I put my car into the garage, and there's always once a week someone coming, cleaning that up, making it picobello. And if there's some damage on the car, this person goes to me to the garage and also fix it for me, because I don't want to go to the garage, right? Because this is not the reason why I bought the car. I bought the car to move from A to B, right?
Very
So
practical.
yes, so for me, it's always like, what do I want to do to spend my time with? And if I know, okay, I don't want to take care of a car like that, then I don't buy a luxury car, because then I waste time on things I don't want to do. This time I could spend with my family, with my girlfriend, or just building my business or whatever, which makes actually fun. And I really want to do that, right? So this is minimalism for me, like taking care of my time and finding out like what is important to me, and how do I want to spend my time, and where can I save time that is not spent wisely, in terms of like, what do I actually want to do?
Yeah. I think besides time, also where you talk about like caring about your car, this emotional energy. So both also life energy, where you want to spend your life energy on this, and the time, right? And so right now we can still take a few questions from the audience. So if you have any questions, how to fast track your wealth, feel free to leave in the comment section. Meanwhile, I will hand it over to Matt. You have a question, right?
Maybe, yeah. So while the audience is thinking what to ask Thomas, since we have Thomas on our show today, maybe I would like to ask him. So, what would be your tip or your thoughts? What would you like to tell our audience to fast track their dream life, their passion life, or their wealth? How would you start if now you are looking at this show, watching this show, and you think, oh, I actually should also do something different? Where to start?
I think it's a difficult question, because it depends on where you just are at your life. But I think there's some basics where, for example, let's say you're unhappy with your job. This is like a lot of times, this is like the kind of key factor where you then start to find out about finance and other things, because like money is like the reason probably you are in that job or in that profession you don't like, because you need the money to pay rent, to pay for food, for children, childcare, and everything, right? So I think it's a good idea to think about, what do you actually want to do? Like, what doesn't matter how much you earn, but what would you actually like doing? For example, if I was in the IT, so I was a database administrator. I did stuff in databases and so on. Didn't like that much in the end. So I asked myself, like, what do I want to do? And I always did some side businesses. So probably this is the easiest way for me, because I already did some things on the side. For most people, they probably don't have a side business. So they just have like hobbies, or they have things they do in their free time, spare time. And there you can start, like, what do you actually do? What are your hobbies, or what do you do in your free time? And then try to figure out, is there something which I can do, and maybe get money for it? For example, if someone goes or really likes go to the cinema, right? There is probably some kind of way to get paid by going into the cinema. I assure you so. There is people on this planet, everywhere, even in Switzerland, being paid for going into the cinema, for watching the newest movie. And then it's your like creativity to find out how to get paid to go watching the new Venom movie starring end of October, right? So this is how I think about like those kind of problems. So my like solution was like, how can I grow my collection without putting more money into it? Selling part of my old collection with the new money, getting other things for my collection, and then keeping that what I want from the new bought stuff and selling the rest. And then you do it perpetually, and then your collection grows, and then you still can sell. So that's how I would always approach those kind of like questions. This is more like if you want to get like self-employed probably, or do something that is like more out of the box, right? So there's probably other easier things. For example, just switching the job from, I could have switched my IT job if I knew back then that marketing is something I really like, to a marketing job. Then probably I would be, even as an employee, really liked doing my job, and I would have stayed employed, right? Because I like doing marketing. So this is the easier way, because you don't go the risk that you start something and after 2 or 3 years you don't earn anything, right? And but this, because it's the easy way, your like earning potential is like has a ceiling.
Yes.
So, for example, in the IT job where I was, if I would have stayed at my job and not went the corporate ladder up, like, and then I started not doing IT anymore, basically, which is always the case when you start climbing the corporate ladder, then my ceiling would be at 200 or 300K per year, which is a lot in this area, but this is the ceiling. Now, I theoretically don't have any ceiling if I don't want to. I basically create my own ceiling because I tell myself I want to only stay as a family business and just don't want to hire a lot of employees. So I create my own ceiling. But if then I decide to change after 5 years, say, okay, the ceiling was now nice, but now I want to like scale more, I can still do that. As an employee, you cannot do that, right? So this is how I would actually approach it, because you always need to think about it like your work or what you do during those 8 to 9, maybe even 10 hours per day or even more. You do that 40 to 50 years, depending on how old you are at the moment. So you need to choose wisely what you do, right? Because you do it 40 to 50 years and it's quite a lot of your time which work is consuming. So that's why I say you need to like work with something that you really like doing, and you would go the extra mile for it. So if you're in the office and then when it's basically 8.4 hours is done, you're gone, and always like on point, you're gone, you probably should think about your job, or you maybe are even so happy with your job that you just do that because you need your balance or whatever. But usually it's a bad sign if you're like on point, always watching on a clock and then going out every day, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it will never go the extra mile.
Yeah. Also as to hire employees, it's very obvious like which are the employees who really enjoy working on the things they're assigned to, and who are the people they just like they're not interested. Yeah.
That's kind of hard actually to hire. Like even finding freelancers that like what they do, it's really hard. It's not so easy.
I
So
find
that's
it's
what I noticed
easier.
at least.
I find it's easier to work freelancers because then it's based on the delivery if it's not paid by per hour. But if you hire an employee, they kind of stick
No,
with you
you
medium.
misunderstood me. Like people that like what they like, monetarily, I understand you, but I mean like people that like doing what they're doing as a freelancer.
Oh yes,
So, for
yeah,
example, if you have someone that doesn't like what he's doing, he will never go the extra mile
yes,
because
yes,
he will finish his project because he gets the money. There are people that doing exactly the same, but they sometimes go the extra mile because they think, this is a nice video, this is a nicer project. I put some more effort into it and I still get charged the same, but the end product is nicer because
yeah,
they
yeah,
like what they're actually doing. You understand? So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's quite hard in my experience to find people or to determine, is this people actually like what he or she does or not, or is he just doing mainly for like the monetary aspect?
Yeah, correct. I think that's if you have somebody on the phone or on Zoom the first time, it's usually interesting to check out other things, like ask them what they have done and compare with others. So like website design is something I like to look at. I have outsourced that part, and lucky I found someone who is doing it really great, and he does it. He did hundreds of websites, and every one of them is like very detailed, and he's always going the extra mile. And other people, yeah, like you said, you nailed it. Thank you.
I have a question
Thank you very
from the
much.
audience. Probably the last question for tonight. What is the next big thing or project we are working on?
I mean, it's basically a joint venture. It's called Gezeitenpanther. I do it with Simon, which is basically a blog and YouTube channel about luxury watches like Rolex, IWC, and all those kind of things. I'm not an expert in this area. That's why I collab now with Simon. So we're launching actually in December already. So 12th of December will be the official launch, and we are working on a project since beginning of the year. So it will be almost 1 year working on the project behind the scenes till the launch. So it's really a lot of effort from us to launch that project, and hopefully it will go really well. And so this will be the next big thing, you could say.
Wow. Okay.
Cool.
Audience, check it out. So I'm very looking forward to your next project. And if there's no more questions from the audience, and if you're watching this replay, I think most of the audience are doing this, you can still leave in the comment section. We will read it. We will answer your questions. And if you're interested in, watching the videos from Thomas, read his blogs, you can check out his website, and all the links you can find in the description below. And how often do you release videos on YouTube, Thomas?
On every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So 4 videos per week, and also 3 streams per week on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, 7 o'clock in the evening.
Okay, basically just grab his YouTube channel, then get notified. And if you like this interview, and I hope you have, benefit a lot from the experiences that he shared with you tonight, please subscribe to our channel. And also, if you want to learn more about personal finance and money management skills, also check out our Fast Track Money course. You can also find the link in the description below. Also, Thomas talked a lot about money, personal finance. Check out his content as well. And we're all here to actually helping people understand the value of time, the value of money, the value of your personal lifestyle and passion, and then to live your dream life. And thank you so much for being here with us, Thomas.
Thank you very much. What a really nice experience. Also doing an interview in English. I mean, English is a language, unfortunately, I don't use that much anymore in speaking, but it's always nice to have a nice chat with other like-minded people.
Yeah,
thank you
your
very
English is great. Your English is super.
Perfect,
Ignore the comment from one of the audience. All right. Thank you guys for
Thank you,
being here.
Thomas. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.